Welcome back to Our Community. Susie Thomas visiting with Melissa Coltis and Nora Logsden, both from Meals on Wheels, almost celebrating 45 years. That's just remarkable. So you were kind of getting in a little bit towards those beginning years, Nora. What kinds of changes have you seen taking place?
Oh my gosh. I can say when I started with the agency, we were very small. We were a catered program. We were providing probably less than 500 meals a day. And I thought that was, wow, how are we going to do this? Through the years, we've not only grown, but we went from being a catered program to actually I was a part of building our building and our kitchen and getting those operations all up and running when we chose to go that direction. Just seeing the growth. When I started, we primarily only delivered to those that were over the age of 60. Today, we deliver to homebound individuals of all ages, no matter what. So I've really seen a lot of growth in my time.
The cooks, are they volunteers as well, or do you have paid staff?
We do have paid staff in our kitchen, but we also utilize volunteers as well in our kitchen.
What's the size of your staff?
We have 9 full-time individuals in our kitchen.
And then volunteers?
We have, over 500 volunteers on our rolls.
Mm-hmm.
We deliver 65 routes every day. And again, that's 65, but we probably need to split some out because they're too long. Mm-hmm. So we always need more volunteers. Never have enough.
I'm sure somebody's hearing this saying, okay, I'm in, I'm signing up. What are the requirements? Do you pay your own gas and so forth? How many meals would you be delivering? And it's always smart to go in twos, yes?
We would love for you to come with somebody else and get a friend to sign up. That just seems to make it a much more enjoyable experience. It adds that social aspect to it. It becomes fun. You have a driver, you have somebody that's delivering the meals. As far as requirements, again, it's just the driver's license and the auto insurance. And from a time commitment, it's an hour and a half a day. And if you're going to be doing a route, it really depends on where you live. Obviously, we have some communities that the routes are a little bit longer, but you don't have as many stops just because it's a more rural area. More of our city routes, you're kind of going stop, 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 stop. It just really depends on where you are and where you want to deliver, and then how much time you have to spend, at that home and just checking on that person depends on how long your route is going to be. But we try to keep the routes to about 15 stops, I would say would probably be our average, maybe lower on average.
Again, it depends where they're going. Mm-hmm. We get more of it on a time perspective.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Because we have found that once you get beyond that hour to an hour and a half, the meals really start losing their temperature. And we want that meal to be hot so they can sit down and eat it, not have to reheat it. Mm-hmm. So we really kind of look at it from that perspective.
How does it arrive? What do you pack them in that they stay hot?
Actually, we use Rubbermaid coolers. And we heat bricks. We get facing bricks from the Belden Brick Company that we put in the oven and heat. We put those in the bottom of the cooler and stack the meals on top of them. And the meals are put into a aluminum tray, a 3-compartment aluminum tray. Stack them in there, put the lid down, and usually when you're picking that last meal out of the cooler, you're still burning your fingertips.
They're hot.
They're
hot. And the other really neat thing about our meals, that does bring to mind that you're getting a large portion. That's something, she mentioned the compartmentalized tin that they come in, and that's going to be your potato, your meats, your vegetables. Typically.
Our meals meet 1/3 of the daily requirement for individuals over the age of 55.
Yep.
And what we hear from many of our clients is, it's too much food.
Too much food.
Some of it for the evening.
And then, because you have your bag that comes with it then, that's your cold.
Right. They get a bag also that will have the cold component of their meal. It'll have their bread, their milk, their dessert. If we're having a salad that day, that will be in there. So when they sit down, they have quite a lot of food.
A banquet, and they can save some for later.
Absolutely. And back to your question, Susie, earlier about the cost, we have a lot of different funding sources that come in. So some individuals, their meals are maybe being covered by Medicaid or another source like that. But for those that do contribute is on a donation basis. Our suggested donation is $3 per meal. And
Oh,
we ask
my.
that they send in what they can towards the cost of the meal.
That's just fantastic.
It is. And when you look at what they receive, they couldn't go out anywhere and receive what we send them for that price.
I also love, as we were talking about the holistic approach, you've got some pretty detailed instructions for some of those volunteers, that it's not just, as you say, knock on the door, drop off the dinner, and run. It's
No.
at all. So tell us some of that.
Sure. And we train the volunteers. So once you do sign up, we have a volunteer coordinator. She's fabulous. Her name's Angie Click, and she will make sure that you are comfortable with your route. You will go out with another volunteer to make sure that you know the route, you know where you're going, and then you learn the route book. And the route book will take you step-by-step instructions from one client to the next client. It will tell you to turn right on this road. You know, you should not be able to get lost.
Who figures that
Yeah.
out?
Oh, we've got people.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, wow.
Our coordinators figure that out every time a new
Wow.
client comes on or off, and they go through and
details in. Look for the pink house with purple shutters, go to the side door, go up the steps.
That's better than Waze.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
It definitely
Wow.
is. And then from there, they know there's specific information about the client. So we have newspapers at our office. So if a client needs a newspaper, our volunteers know that they want a newspaper. So they pick a newspaper up every day. That's in the book. If they want pet food, that's in the book. So the clients come, the volunteers arrive at our office. They look through their book, see if there's any changes. But for the most part, they have it memorized. And they get everything that they need, and they load their cars. They grab some newspapers. They grab some pet food, make sure that they're ready to go, and they head out and they follow that book, and they know where they're going, and they return back and they report, I had a couple no answers. I sometimes obviously we get something didn't seem right at this specific house. The light was off here and the TV was off, and usually both are on. Can you call and check on them? That's part of what we do. We'd be more than happy. There are eyes and ears on the ground.
Yes.
So we want to make sure they're comfortable. They know what they're doing. They know their routes. And if we can alleviate some of that pressure for them, then they can be out doing what we need them to do, which is checking on these people and providing their meals.
I can't imagine how strong the bond is between the volunteer and the recipient.
Oh, and we hear it when they're not there.
I'll bet.
We do. If we go out and deliver meals, we do have shortages.
Gosh, yes. And
Oh, where's my regular person?
Yes.
Yeah, you're standing there with their meal, and they want to know, well, where is so-and-so? And you're like, well, here's your meal. But they do, and vice versa. The volunteers, when somebody goes off their route, they want to know what happened to them. Where are they? Are they, can we go visit them? Are they in the hospital? Are they in a nursing home? What has happened? And they do. Our volunteers are there is a bond. They go back and they do things. They, take them groceries. They, take them out if they need to sometimes. But it's quite a bond between the two. And as Melissa said, come out and deliver, you'll be hooked.
Yeah. I love the eyes and ears on the ground. And
Oh, absolutely.
It's our
Again,
army,
it's amazing to know that they're cared for, and for them to have the peace of mind that there's somebody who really is watching over me.
The
somebody's
smiles you
paying
get when
attention.
you deliver those meals.
Yeah.
You can't forget it. Can't forget it.
What is pureed and chopped?
Well, pureed and chopped is a type of meal that we can now provide. Again, we work very closely with the hospitals and with the nursing homes when people are transitioning back to their home. Some of them maybe have had a stroke, and they now need either pureed food, or they've had some oral surgery done and they need chopped food. So we're able to provide those services to them. So again, that might be a reason why they can go home, and if they couldn't get that, maybe they couldn't go home. So we look to see what it is that we can provide them that will keep them in their home.
So it really is possible to have a special requirement taken care of. Someone's
We will do our best to take care of those, to make what little adjustments we can if someone is in need of that for their meal.
That's awesome. How about blizzard boxes?
Yes, blizzard boxes. So as you mentioned, sometimes we run into inclement weather, and we want to make sure that we're prepared. We do everything we can to stay open, but ultimately we have to take into consideration the safety of our volunteers. we have to be the ones to make that call. Our CEO, Ted Wacko, hates making that call. He says he feels like a superintendent when he's, looking outside in the morning and calling the drivers to see how bad it is who are out delivering our meals at 5 o'clock in the morning. And if it is bad, there have been times that we have had to close. If that happens, all of our clients have received what we call a blizzard box, and they usually receive it in about October, around the October timeframe, just so they have it. And if we have bad weather, then they can go to that shelf-stable meal, and they have 2 meals in that box that they can use to get through that day if we are not delivering.
So that's like any of us with our just-in-case meal that's in the cupboard, loads of peanut butter
It's a
or
pantry
whatever.
meal, exactly. Stew, yep.
And they're taken care of.
Yes.
You always worry about that. You always think about, wow, what happens to the people who
Well,
are
and it
relying
helps our
on...
volunteers not feel terrible
Yes.
about not getting out that
I know.
day.
They're eating. They're eating today. Over 31 years, you must have some amazing stories. Nora, share some.
We've seen it all, but one that really comes back to mind time and time again is there was a day when one of our clients didn't answer the phone, or didn't answer the door, I'm sorry, and it was very unusual. And so we went through our protocol, called the daughter, said, hey, your mom isn't answering the door today. We're worried about her. The daughter called back the next day just thanking us because her mom had gotten in the bathtub and couldn't get out. And she generally doesn't have a chance to check on her mom till in the evening when she's home from work. And she said, had we not called her and alerted her to this, she hated to think of her mom, A, either being in the tub all day, or B, getting hurt by trying to get out.
Yes.
We have that time and time again. Obviously, with the nature of what we do, we have found people that have fallen. And we have found people that have passed away. But again, we are there to be that check. I was out at one of my locations today, and my employee was sharing with me a story where the volunteer arrived at one of our clients' home and could see blood spats on the front porch and thought, oh no. And the client came to the door and had dried blood on their face. Obviously, they had fallen, and the volunteer said, hey, you know what? Oh yeah, I fell. I'm okay.
Oh, no.
So, right away, the volunteer got the client cleaned up, called us. We called the family and said, hey, I really think you need to get over and check on your dad. It looks like he had a fall. He seems to be okay. But, we feel he needs to be checked out. We give our volunteers, they will call us. We, will instruct them, hey, you know what, we think you need to call 911. We just need to get some help there. It's just what we do. It's, we don't drop it on the porch and go and assume that they're going to be there. We always assume that if they don't answer the door, there's a problem.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure that they're checked on, that's addressed. And if we can't get any of their emergency contacts, then we make that call and we'll call the police and say, hey, could you go do a safety check? Which has always been done, never been a problem. And thank goodness most of the time the person isn't home.
It's a good surprise.
There have been times when they have been there and they have been in distress. So we want to make sure that everyone is taken care of.
But best to rule that out early.
Absolutely.
And hope for a happy ending.
Right.
A good outcome.
And as you said, many individuals, their family doesn't live in town. We get a lot of referrals. We just received one the other day from a daughter who lives in New York and really needs some help with mom and dad. And, we are those eyes in town for those family members that don't live here.
Providing way more than meals. Website
www.mow-starkwayne.org.
Nora Logston, Melissa Coltis, thank you so much for what you're doing in our community.
Thank you.